Is F1 the movie any good? And is it any good from an F1 fan perspective? That's what we're here to find out today. So let's get on with it. Hi, I'm Adam and welcome back to the Zero Credentials F1 podcast. I'm on my own today. Nelly has not seen it yet, so I'm just going to put this video out there. Quick review of the movie. If you're not already subscribed to the channel and this is the first time you've watched, then we discuss F1. We do race reviews and race predictions and previews and things like that. So it's always a good laugh. So make sure you subscribe and we would appreciate you following us along at this early stage of the channel. So I've just been to see the F1 movie. It's Wednesday. I think it was possibly the first showing in the IMAX in Leeds that I saw. So it was really good. I've got to say, just straight off the bat, I really enjoyed it. I've been an F1 fan my entire life, so I went into it really hoping to like it. I'm a big movie fan. I love movies. I go to the cinema as often as I possibly can when there's a movie that grabs my attention. And this one clearly did, because they were pushing it all the way through last season when they were doing the filming, and they were in and around the races all the time. And to be honest, that really, really paid off the way they filmed it like that, because it looks so legit. You can imagine if they hadn't filmed it like that and they're just pretending that it's F1, that would have been super annoying. But there's moments that we saw in the F1 last year where you have Brad Pitt and Damson Idris lining up for the anthems with the real drivers. And we now see that in the movie, and then they do a couple of lines after it, which they had to have done in one take. And it just worked so well. It looked so good. And I just really enjoyed it. Yeah, I just thought it was great, and I wanted to tell you about it. And I really hope it does well, because they've clearly worked hard on it. It's clearly cost a lot of money. And yeah, I hope it pays off for them. Like I said, it looked amazing. It sounded incredible. On the IMAX, the big screen, the big sound, I think that is the only way to go and see it. And the soundtrack was great as well, part of which was provided, I think, by Hans Zimmer, whose soundtracks I always love in movies. This is going to be completely spoiler-free as well. I don't want to ruin it for you. I want you to get the full enjoyment of it. It wasn't perfect. I'll pick apart a few of the things I didn't like to start with. I wouldn't personally go into this movie expecting the unexpected necessarily. There are some great moments and some sort of shocking moments as well, but exciting moments and things. But as a story arc, it's reasonably predictable. Personally, I don't mind that, especially at the moment with the world being as crazy as it is. I just kind of want a bit of escapism with a nice story arc to take you through a movie. And it was satisfying. I came out of there fully satisfied. And there's some funny little cameos as well from some of the real people in F1. Obviously, Martin Brundle and Crofty have done the commentary for it, but they get a lovely little cameo, get their faces on the screen at the end. It's very funny at that point in the movie for an F1 fan. So there are little Easter eggs in there for fans of F1. Like I said, it's a little bit of a predictable storyline, but I don't mind that. A couple of other things that I talked to Nelly about yesterday on our video. I was hoping it wouldn't involve Will Buxton, because his exposition on Drive to Survive is so annoying. And there is a moment towards the start where, sure enough, Will Buxton gets his face on camera and then does some voiceover exposition, which made me, for a little while, want to tear my eyes out and my ears off. Thankfully, it didn't last very long. And then the movie cracked on. I mean, Brad Pitt is just a sort of classic movie star, easy to watch, and just a decent actor. So I enjoyed watching him as well. Like I said, the story is decent. That's all I really wanted. I wanted a decent story with some cracking visuals and cracking sound. And that's exactly what I got. If you see it in the IMAX, I don't know if you've ever been to one, but just the sound hits you in the face, and seeing the cars in that way was fantastic. I just thought that was really great. And the way they did it, it just was so legit, because Brad Pitt and I think Damson Idris did a lap or a few laps at Silverstone last year in a car, and they showed some of that lap, and I think they probably then mixed some of the footage in with some of the CGI stuff they did, and it just looked so good. And then the CGI that they've obviously done to make it look like the cars were in the races, I couldn't tell which bits were CGI and which was real footage. I don't know if they put the car livery in CGI over the top of a real car that was involved in some action, but it just looked great. And then you've got Martin Brundle and Crofty's commentary on top of that, which kind of just worked well. The other thing that was the most irritating from a fan point of view was really the kind of tactics in a race that teams you would use, or the team in the Apex team in the movie used to get advantages and things, because they weren't very realistic, if I'm honest. It's sort of for a general audience, I think. And as an F1 fan, that was the only bit that I kind of think, it's a little bit annoying. But all I had to do was suspend my disbelief around that and just buy into it, because it was still, those little moments were quite good for the story, and it's totally understandable why they did it. Because F1 is a fairly technical sport, and it requires at least watching a couple of seasons before you start to understand all the technical ins and outs and the tactics within a race. And personally, I didn't really want any more exposition around explaining F1. So I think making stuff easy to understand, with exposition coming a little bit from the commentary from Martin and Crofty, I think that worked enough. And I just suspended my disbelief around some of the tactical stuff that was going on within the fictional team. And I still managed to enjoy it, because the sort of human story in and around all that was still pretty good and still pretty exciting. And like I said, really quite satisfying. One thing that I thought was a little bit missing, or they dropped the ball with a little bit, but was probably with Damson Idris's character, because it never really truly felt fleshed out. All the characters that they had in there did manage to follow a story arc with a beginning, middle and end. Every character did go through that, but I just felt that Damson Idris's character could have been fleshed out a little bit more. There was some really interesting sort of character traits and character flaws and character background that I would have loved to have known more about, so you could understand the intention behind the character and why the character was behaving in a certain way at a certain time. It just didn't quite feel as fleshed out as I would have liked it to. Because then when his story arc comes to a conclusion, or when it did come to a conclusion, I wasn't quite as bought into it as I was with the other characters. But that's a small point, and I still enjoyed it overall. And I thought the acting was pretty good overall as well. And yeah, I just enjoyed it a lot. The soundtrack kind of blew my mind. There was some banging tunes in there mixed in with some stuff from Hans Zimmer, and it sounded just beautiful, loud, but really, really great. Some great song choices at certain points that I just thought was so cool, and I loved that. Just the general cinematography and the way they filmed it looked amazing. There was the really cool bits when they were filming in the car. Like, again, I'm not sure which bits were real and which bits were CGI, but I'm guessing this bit was real, where you had the camera facing out of, say, Brad Pitt's car, and then it would spin round to show him. And that was so cool. It was kind of quite a wide angle as well, which just looked great. Kind of brought all the action in, a bit like looking at a GoPro, but higher quality. Just looked great, and it kept spinning round, and it just looked fantastic. It felt like you were in the race, because we see onboard footage in a race, but it's always really shaky. Whereas obviously they've cleaned all that up, and it honestly felt like you were in the car, particularly because of the sound and the big screen. It is a film that really needs to be seen on the big screen. It was also so nice to go to the movies and watch a film that isn't a superhero film or a secret agent type film. I enjoy films like that, I've got to say, but it was just a classic kind of Hollywood movie with a sort of simple story arc. If you've seen a Jerry Bruckheimer film before, you're not going to be too surprised. It has that Jerry Bruckheimer produced feel to a movie with sort of helicopter or panning drone shots. There's sort of quick, snappy action, quick moving story. And I love that kind of film. Don't expect too much in terms of like a story, sort of complex story. It's officially linked to F1. So it's never going to have a kind of ending that was going to in any way damage their reputation or brand, was it? You're going to have to come out of that movie feeling like you've had a good time. And that's exactly how I came out feeling. And it kind of, you went through the story arc, it's satisfying at the end. And I felt that my £16 to see it in the IMAX was well worth the money. So I hope you subscribe and listen to me and Nelly have a laugh talking about F1. Our next video will be this Sunday, talking about the Austrian Grand Prix once that has happened. Thanks for listening, and I will see you again very, very soon. Bye for now.